Hello, I'm here. It's late, but I'm here. Had to go to the dentist today, get a cleaning while I have insurance before New York City collapses. Um, and it was an interesting dentist. Uh, Very interesting, very diverse. I'm in Jamaica, Queens, so Spanish, tech, black tech. The black tech I had a problem with, so Spanish tech had to finish. I don't know. Black people just can't get along. I don't know. Russian dentist. Um, so very interesting. Um, Everything's fine, but here's a statement the dentist said. He looked at my mouth. He said, "I'm surprised you have so many teeth." And so I had to laugh. He said, "People your age don't have teeth." Now he thought I was old. I look older than I am, but black people do have bad teeth. They don't take care of their teeth. Dennis told me you only brush once a day. I was like, no, I brush twice a day. Once before I go to bed. He said, whatever you're doing, do it. Told me what toothbrush to buy. He said you're doing fine, but if you really want the best, then so I try to get as much information as I can, because again, you don't know when. He said just come back next year. You don't have to come back every 6 months. You don't know when your life when you're not getting the social support you're supposed to, your life's always teetering on the brink. And that's where I am. And if you look at my YouTube numbers, my Patreon numbers, you see why I'm saying that. So that's why I always try to get as much information as I can. Now, what I want to talk about today is solutions. And solutions are everywhere. They're there. And they're simple. Now, people will tell you, oh, no, it's complicated. It's complicated. When a person tells you a solution is complicated, they're lying or they're just thoughtless. More often, they're lying. Because people aren't that thoughtless. They know what the solutions are. Now, they say, well, people are not going to just do these things. That's not my problem. The solutions are easy. If people are so insane that they don't want to implement simple solutions, then that's not a complication either. That's just people are insane. Okay, very simple, very easy. And there's always multiple solutions for everything. We know this. We've studied this. We have the history. We have it. The big thing now is what's going on between Israel and the Palestinians. And we've known since I was a teenager that a two-state solution was the thing. That was always on the table. Two-state solution, two-state solution. As an adult, I started to realize that people around, even people in the region who claim to be on Palestine's side are not always on Palestine's side, the Palestinians. They're using them. We know America's using Israel. So its solution has always been there. Now you say, well, Israel has built so many settlements that you can't be a two-state solution anymore. Okay, then a one-state solution where everybody has equal rights, equal voting rights, and equal rights. And don't try to lock up the Palestinians on bogus charges so they can't vote like they do to black people in America. No, don't do that. Again, it's very simple what they do. And they get a lot of these ideas from the United States. Remember, Hitler got his ideas from the United States black codes. And somebody said recently that Hitler looked at the black codes and said, even that's too harsh for me to use, so I have to modify it. So he was saying what America did to us was too harsh. Hitler said what America was doing to blacks was too harsh, so he had to modify it when he used it for Jews. So think about that. Think about that. When you think about reparations, think about that. Now, slavery, he said the black codes during the 20th century were too harsh. So, again, two-state solution is one state where everybody has equal rights is one. And you say, well, two-state might be too complicated. All these settlements got to move. It's very easy. I've seen them evict people. People can be evicted very quickly. And I know this because in the United States, they shut down a lot of government housing all across the country. New York City, Columbia, South Carolina, Chicago, and I'm pretty sure in LA, if they had it, they shut them down. They were shutting down public housing everywhere. So millions of people got displaced. And a lot of those people are sleeping in their cars, in the woods, under bridges, on the street, on subway stations. I know because I spent a few nights on the subway station. And I know that we're not just sleeping out there in the daytime in New York. You can come and see them in the middle of the day, in morning, noon, and night. So I just gave you two solutions to a thing. Very simple, very easy, not complicated. You want to end racism. You say, well, no, that's just complicated. Look, it's very easy. Racism was built into the society fundamentally because you were using free labor and you had to justify that by making brown people different human beings. That's not complicated. You were scheming. How do you come out of that? You say these people are full human beings across the board. They're full human beings in law enforcement. They're full human beings at the bank. They're full human beings, well, I would say applying for jobs, but jobs are disappearing with the tech we have. And if you really want to be just, then you'd have to give us something for all those walls and blocks and hindrances that you did. You'd have to do that. And it's getting a lot of talk and gaining a lot of steam. Some states and local places have already given reparations, which surprises me, but then I don't know, maybe nothing surprises me. Because if you look at the state of black people, you have to do something with us. Now I always said, again, it's simple. You can give us reparations. You can give a UBI to people who are poor, which most of us would get. If you wanted to be just, you can give our UBI, give us a little more than other people. So you can give a UBI and say you get $1,000 if you're impoverished, $200 extra dollars if you're African American, tied to, you can tie at least one parent back to sharecropping. You could even say you get $200 if you're an immigrant. You can give, if you're seeking asylum, $200 extra dollars. You can knock it down like that. Again, that's an easy solution. Homelessness is if you give the UBI, you'll cut out the homelessness because you'll be putting money in our hand to pay rent with. Or you can just give us real housing vouchers, meaning if 50 to 60% of the people in the United States live at or below the poverty line, then you have to give 60% of us housing vouchers, because that means we can't afford housing. And the poverty line is $12,000. I just want you to know. So, in some states, it's more expensive than others, but everywhere I go now is expensive. I mean, I went to South Carolina, the deep South, and their rents was the same as New York City, which blew my mind. I'm like, where's all this? Where am I supposed to get this money from? Because their minimum wage in South Carolina is $7, but their rents are like $1,500, $1,700, $2,000 a month for one bedrooms. So, no public transportation, which means, well, they have it, but it runs how it wants to run. And I went to school down there, graduated in 2002, and I used the bus. And I will say this: when I went, the buses were old and kind of raggedy, but they ran properly. They were simplified. You knew which bus was going where, and I used my bus to go to work and go to school. When I went back, the buses are nicer, brand new, clean, top of the line. But they cut the routes up so that you have to transfer and you have to pay for transfers. Bus drivers do what they want. Bus drivers stop, get on the phone, talk, have cigarettes halfway between the route. At least the bus I was on. Go use the bathroom, go talk. Go have a cigarette break, and then get back on and then ride the bus. So the bus I took down there to go to the library, maybe you get downtown in an hour and a half. That's fine. I can ride public transportation for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, maybe 2.5. It all depends on how the bus driver feels that day. And I said, well, I can't function like this because I would have to go to the library to use their internet because they hadn't built good internet where I was. So I was like, man, this is no good, right? So I say all that to say they're charging New York rents, and that's what kind of service you're getting. It's madness. With a $7.25 or $7.50 minimum wage, right? So, or another solution for housing is just build that much public housing, which means you'd have to confiscate some land and build public housing. And if the private developers don't like that, then they'll have to lower their rents. It's one way or the other. They can make money. If they don't want to lower their rents, you're gonna have to make public housing, right? But when I talk about the scale, there's 320 million people in this country. 50% of us are at below the poverty line. That's 160 million people. So you have parents and children, so maybe you'd have to make 100 million public units or give out 100 million vouchers. Not 10,000 vouchers, federal vouchers that go out to 10 cities. No, that's not gonna cut it. 100 million vouchers you'd have to give out at least. And you said, "Well, Tim, that's too complicated to scale." It's not complicated. It's just paper. Hey, I fill out the paper. I put on my income. Oh, you're poor. We see that. We see your tax return. You're poor. You just make 12,000 or 13,000 or whatever the case may be. You can't live off that. Here's a voucher. It's very simple. Just the same way they gave us stimulus checks in 2020 through the IRS. It's just that easy. You see how easy that was? Extra unemployment on top of it. It was very easy. It's done with computers. It's boom, boom, click this, click that, send it to so-and-so. Put my bank account in there, direct deposit. So, solutions to our problems are very easy. It's not complicated. People just don't want to do them. Now, like I said, I can't figure out why people don't want to. They're just insane. There's no other way to say it. Either they're insane, no, they have to be insane. And, some people are invested in having problems. Some people get paid to manage problems. If the problem goes away, they won't get paid. And but that's still insane to me because nothing stays the same. If you don't solve a problem, it just eats away at you. And managing it means it eats away at you a little slower, but it eats away and erodes everything. It erodes the foundation of your society, your social structure. And that's where we are at in the United States. And you see it in a lot of little ways. People try to cover up, try to pretend like it's not happening, try to bury their heads in their phones and their mobile devices and their tablets. When they're outside, they try to drive just to where they're going and drive back home and not look at it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Just go wherever you are, unless you're in a really small town. But go to your downtown area and just sit and watch people, and you'll see people are not healthy. They're not healthy. They're not right. They're not physically healthy and they're not mentally healthy. So I think just solve the problems. It's very simple to me, but I'm just that type of person. If it's a simple thing, just do it. I can't stand the school systems because I think they're gateways to prisons. They've been gateways to prison since I was 17. Knowingly been gateways to prison since I was 17. I'm 52 years old. They're still doing the same things. As a matter of fact, in New York City, our high schools are mini prisons. Metal detectors, the way the lunchrooms are, the way the teachers are, cops are inside, fights happen, and if you go to the white schools, because we still separated, they're doing they having mass shootings at schools. It's madness. But the thing is, no matter how many mass shootings they have in white schools, they won't put metal detectors in. They won't. Because one person said, if we put metal detectors in, we might as well be a prison. You come to New York City, every school's got metal detectors in it. So what does that tell you? And so I created a space to be an alternative to the school system with over 3,000 lessons, videos, writings, class notes, all kinds of materials. I didn't like some of the films and shows we were seeing. So again, I created a space, the Coniston Center for Art and Culture. I created it. The art is filmmaking, song lyrics, digital prints. The culture is educational courses. It's there, it's up, it's running. Now you say, but Tim, you ain't making no money, you ain't getting no support. Yeah, but it was simple. I learned and studied, took what was in my mind, built the thing. My ex-wife was wonderful in helping me and encouraging me. We have another business. Our accountant saw what I was doing because I was teaching for a platform. So you need to LLC this. So I did it. And 2020 showed me that Negroes we're never gonna stand up for ourselves institutionally and systemically. So I just formed the thing and it went on. Because I figure I can get a group of people we could do this, but no, it's not gonna work that way. So solutions are very easy. When you have a problem, you see it, just implement the solution. Sometimes you might have to do it by yourself. People see you, they might help for a little bit. You might get different people help at different times. You got a problem with your child's school, pull them out. At the very least, the school will change so you can bring them back. But you got to really be serious about pulling them out. You got to pull them out. And you have to teach them. You have to come up with a plan. But I'm here. I'll help you. And I'm not the only one. There's plenty of scholars online that you say, hey, look, I'm tired of this. I want to pull my children out. They'll give you plans and lesson plans. Some of them are professors. Right? So you do it. The police, you want to police your neighborhood? Police it. It's very easy. Police each other. Because it's just like when I was in the neighborhood. No outsider was shooting about neighborhood. It was people we knew. It was people in the hood. And lot of times, sometimes people be like, look, would tell some of their parents, this was when I was very young, look, your son is like shooting up the neighborhood. Look, wait, look. And they would send him down south. Poor South. Get all out. Bad children. They would send him down south. But then it got to a point where it's like, fuck you, mind your business. And there was nothing you could do because we didn't have a community. So you couldn't really complain because we had no cohesion, no nothing. So people were ripping and running and shooting at each other. And now you got little kids ripping and running and shooting at each other. You know, so, but there's a solution to that. Police each other. Police ourselves. You know your child's bad as hell. You know the child got guns in the room. You know the child got drugs in the room. You know, just go in there and be like, look, you can't bring that here. You can't bring that here. And, or take it from them and dump it. Now, not the drugs, because you might get them in trouble. You might get them owe something. But you know what's going on with your children. If your child's always hanging on a certain spot, you know what you do. You go in, you ask them, well, whose drugs are these? Then you find out the person, the boss, and you take the drugs and say, here, my son can't do this because he's going to be in really big trouble. So I'm giving you back your drugs. And when the child comes back home, drugs gone, guns gone. And it's like, well, where's all? Hey, listen. This is what could be done. Or just make it so difficult for them. Say, yeah, you can't bring that in this house. You can't bring none of that in this house. And the next time you bring it in, if you find it, next time you bring it in, I'm going to flush it down the toilet. And the next time, flush it down the toilet. And if he has to if he has to pay it back or whatever happens to them, so be it. Some people gonna have to be sacrificed because some people are out of control, and you know it. And if you're a parent, you know your child's out of control. But in our community is so fractured and so insane that we don't even hold each other accountable for nothing anymore. And even worse than that, we say, well, at least he's bringing home money and helping me pay the rent. Not even that. I gotta give him credit. He's out there working. He works. I gotta tell him he works. And he brings home money and he helps me. He shot 3 people. Well, listen, he do what he gotta do. And then when someone shoots their son, they're weeping. And you look at them and you're like, I did a video where I talked about how human beings are fascinating to me. Your son was destroying everything and you're weeping and crying over this guy like Jesus Christ died. I don't get it. I just find it fascinating at this point. But yeah. That's a solution for that. There's always solutions for answers. There's always solutions. And they're always easy. And we can do them. We can implement them. But you have to be willing to do it. But even that's not complicated. If you're afraid to implement solutions, all right, it's easy. You're afraid. If you're scheming and you got a job managing it so you don't want it to go away, then you're being bought off. Life is very easy. It's very simple. I don't know why people believe that it's complicated. It's not. It's really not. And either way, like I said, I always say, there's no judgments. There's no judgments. Because a lot of times, what are you going to do in this society? It's so messed up. It's so rotten. Like my brother John used to say, this society is so rotten that there's hardly nothing left. No fabric left. No nothing left. So, you want to support the channel, all the links are below. I have a support group on my Patreon page too. So I have a content page where I got all my classes, all my screenplays, all my scripts, all my stuff. And then I have a support group. Then I have the basic channel where I put readings from different books. So, and that's it. And I think that's it. I think we covered it. 25 minutes. I don't know. These videos are going longer and longer, and I really don't mean for them to. But I think this one's going to be public. Some of these are public. Other ones are behind the paywall. Talk to you next time. Try to be safe. Try to take care. It's getting crazy out here.